It's Easter. That means rebirth, the new you. Welcome again to another episode of the 1% in Recovery podcast, where we encourage you to laugh every day, to work hard in recovery, work hard in relationships, work hard in your job, business, school, just work. And to love unconditionally, put much more love out there and watch much more love return. Recovery is beautiful. Your EQ is your IQ, and you cannot outthink an emotional issue. Now, we keep encouraging people to go to the website, lifeiswonderful.love, L-O-V-E, download the free, I repeat, the free Recovery Growth Scorecard, where you introduce natural dopamine, serotonin, endorphins, oxytocin, start healing the brain, start changing that neuroplasticity so you can be on the road to recovery, to changing your character, to have that spiritual awakening, to get to the next level, freedom. Now, let's jump into this week's episode. This week's episode is about Easter. Today is Easter Sunday. And Easter is always about, which centers around the death of Jesus Christ and then his resurrection 3 days later. You know, he has the Last Supper on Thursday, you have the crucifixion on Friday, and then we have the ascension to heaven on Sunday. And that is similar to recovery. There's always got to be a part where your old life dies and your new life emerges. Something different, something better, and something that is just much more joyous, peaceful, and free. I can tell you, as an alcoholic gambler, someone who just loved to drink beer, bet on sports, and in reality, waste a lot of time, spend way too much time just either in bars, clubs, watching games, mainly at home, but over at my parents' house, or maybe at a sports bar, or maybe in Vegas, all that time. You know, that could have been better spent just either in relationships. Because you know what gamblers are? Gamblers are lonely. You know what alcoholics are? Alcoholics are lonely. Do you know what drug addicts are? They're lonely. And they also, neither one of those three have true purpose. There's true no enjoyment of the everyday life, of the simple pleasures, whether that's making a sale, making your bed, cleaning your car, being there for family, whether it's taking your mom to a doctor's appointment, being there for your nephew or nieces or sons or daughters' Little League game, all the simple things, eating an ice cream, all that simple things. When you're in that, you're just so busy trying to get high, trying to escape. That is no way to live. That is survival. And God put us on this earth to live, whatever that is. We are given so many gifts and talents. I know some of my gifts and talents are speaking, podcasting, writing, coaching, as well as sales, as well as being the best cat and dog owner, having Moose, Panther, and Creed. Moose and Panther are my two cats. Creed is my one dog. And always being there for family, being there for friends, being there for people in recovery, talking about the steps. I know what my gifts are, and I keep developing them. And of course, is loving going to the gym, love reading, love going to museums, and enjoying all types of food. But you got to really understand all that. This is the whole new Hugo, not the other one. The other one had its time and purpose, ran for 20 years from age 8 to 30 drinking, age 12 to 33 gambling. Things then got different. And yes, rebirth can be something magical. Same thing with different girlfriends. You know, I was with someone for 13 years, another person for 3.5 years, then someone else for about 6 years, then someone else for a year, long distance, women that were older, women that were the same age, women that were younger. But they all added so much value. I do actually all I still love them in certain ways, but always want the best for them. They helped me grow in different ways. Yeah, there was also the fights, there's also the disagreements, but that's in any relationship. I have disagreements with my brother, with my nieces, with my mom or dad when they were alive, with friends. I don't agree because some of my friends are way hardcore Republicans. I have other friends that are way hardcore Democrats. I don't agree with neither party. I'm more in the middle, independent, libertarian. But you got to just know who you are. And this is the rebirth. And what are you comfortable with? I'm comfortable going to all kinds of places and knowing I'm not going to drink alcohol. I'm not placing a bet on anything. I'm not getting into this weird angles going way to the right, way to the left. I just like knowing what I know. 59 and learning. And I think, it all started back in Fatima. I like to always tell people, there was a reason I already had a trip planned. I did not know that I was going to completely stop gambling at the time, but I just had a trip already planned to Portugal, and I was going to meetings, but I kept going betting. I'd not bet for 1 or 2 days, but then I'd bet. This was going on for a month. I had to get out of here for 2 weeks, which was, instead of going to a treatment center, I went to Europe. But I was by myself, and I could be there, just didn't have anybody else to kind of talk about. So, in Fatima, I was there where the Virgin Mary had an apparition to 3 little kids in I want to say 1917. Could be 1919, but I'm pretty sure it was 1917 at the end of World War I. And that's where I found the strength. And I went and I prayed and I cried and I finally felt God, lit the candles. And that was my rebirth, because when I came back here, I was finally done with all the gambling. I'd already been done with drinking for 3 years. I'd already been in therapy for 1.5 years. And now I was really gung-ho about doing this alcohol program, going to therapy weekly, doing this gambling program. That is the rebirth, that's the new me. And then over these past 20, so then the next 26 years, just doing things differently. And there's been, obviously the emotions are still going to be there. It's still going to feel joy, excitement, happiness, satisfaction, exhilaration, but also calmness, contentment, but also grief, sadness, anger, depression, anxiety, all those things. They all happen. But I wish everybody to have this wonderful Easter, be there with family, be there with friends, connect with your higher power, connect with God, being able to be reborn. There is something. I love the St. Francis. I'm going to finish with the St. Francis prayer, or the 11th step prayer that some people like to say. It is by dying that you get to be reborn. It is by forgiving that you are forgiven. And I think a lot of times people don't really associate it. Just like in the 2 about, it's better to love than be loved. And it's better to understand than to be understood. Man, if you just learn to just love people, you learn to understand people, if you learn to forgive people, and you learn to just let go and let the old life die, that way so many more people will understand you, love you, forgive you, and you have your new life. With that, we're going to conclude this episode of the 1% in Recovery podcast. Happy Easter.